get screened at the front door. And so we've gone through processes since March, right? We take your temperature and we ask you questions about symptoms, et cetera. And then you have to wear a mask, of course. And so then we got a little fancier and we got this temperature gauge on the wall. So it gauges you on the
Those are
wall
cool.
and you
Yeah.
have a human asking you these questions. And then like 2 weeks ago, they came out with it. It's like, it almost looks like an iPad that you stand up next to, and I, as an employee, scan my badge because and is associated there is my name and my contact info, et cetera, for contact tracing purposes in case I did test positive or whatever. So I scan this and then I put my face up and it takes my temperature. And by scanning this, it says, you know, if you scan, then you're acknowledging that your answers are no to all of these questions about symptoms, et cetera. So if you're an employee, you have this, but if you're not an employee, you log into this website and you create a QR code that then works with this app. And so you would scan the QR code and it would log in all your contact info. And again, scan the QR code acknowledges that you're saying no to all of these questions.
Oh, here comes
and then some QR codes are reusable and some are only usable for 2 hours, but it's for a contact tracing purpose and it saves us humans time having to track and write all that down.
I took my mother to a doctor, and who was it? It was, I remember I was so furious because we had to go back. Allergy, sinus stuff. And in their waiting room, they had the big, you know, it was like an iPad thing on a stand, and you had to walk up in front of it. And I forget, it was almost like I was expecting to read my, you know,
Pupil.
Just a pupil or whatever. But it would took your temperature. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool because the girl didn't have to come out from behind the desk. You didn't touch it.
Yep.
You just walked up and did it, and you didn't have to do
I
anything else. It just,
feel like this is all I do all day.
you know, you didn't have to do anything like that. It just took your temperature and told her what it was. But
So Allison, is there a charge for that app? Is it, I mean, do you know?
You know, I don't know that. I would imagine because we're using it company wide, they probably did. It probably is attached to this iPad device. They go hand in hand is what I'm assuming. But I did find when I was researching some of this, a website where you can make your own QR code, and it looks
there's a
like
couple of
free.
those. Yeah.
And it also had it's called QR-code-generator.com.
Yeah.
But it also had some really cool just articles, again, about QR codes, how you can use them, the resurgence of them since COVID. It was just a very cool website that had lots of resources related specifically to QR.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, apparently I think, like you said, it's making a resurgence, and I think everybody's doing anything they can to keep their businesses aloft. I was thinking that, and I've talked to Brian and Kelly from The Block, and he was saying that their business has just excelled during COVID. Of course, they have.
What is The Block?
The Block, the deli, it's down there. Yes. And I thought he might be a good speaker, or she might be a good speaker as to some of the things that they've done to work outside the box to make their business exciting. He says, we haven't stopped. We've just been slammed.
Right.
I don't hear that too often.
Wow.
Well, they're smaller. They don't, I've not been inside, but I think they had a couple of tables, I think, in there, but it was mostly carry out deli type things. Yeah.
So and I don't know really how
Every time I drive
businesses are affected with this COVID. I don't.
it's called the breach, whatever.
But I think those that are doing mostly carry out, they're doing okay.
Yeah.
It's the ones that relied on that, you know, drink and entertainment aspect. They're the ones that are really suffering. And now that it's gotten cold, that outside dining is basically gone away, because I don't know how many of them are going to invest in like the shields. Like if you're in New York or over in Europe, they'll have, you know, al fresco dining all the time, but they usually have like the plastic clear.
Right. But then is it still outdoor seating? But then to me, I'm like, but is that still considered outdoor seating for COVID, or are you just containing all the germs with the plastic?
Well, here's my question on it, because yes, it's outdoor. and you're not, you're away from the other, but then how do you disinfect between the two? Because now you've got this big sheets of
Right.
everything.
Right.
Let's come in and fumigate. And I don't think I'd want somebody fumigating if I'm sitting at the table next to
Right.
it. So
Right.
Well, have you seen what Captain's Quarters is doing? They
No.
actually have.
I saw them.
plastic. Yeah, like plastic.
it?
They look like igloos, but they're plastic.
Oh,
And I think no more than 8 people can be in the,
But see, there again, I feel like if you had one person who had COVID, they're just literally just,
but what they're doing afterwards is after the party leaves, they go in and disinfect, they fog and disinfect the whole place
Gotcha.
before the next group goes in,
okay,
which I thought, well, for outdoor seating, because it's heated
right.
and, you're just with your group, you're not with, sit next to a stranger or something like that.
Right.
I just thought that was kind of,
Yeah, very
I like
creative.
the idea. I mean, I
There's
thought, well, they got to come up with something.
Right.
I saw some city up north. I want to say it was like St. Paul or somewhere really north. And they had a whole, an entertainment district, and they had those igloo things. It was almost like a boardwalk. And like in the summer, it was like an open patio kind of thing. But they had the igloo things, and they had them lit up, different colors, and it was really cool. It was very Christmassy looking, very festive, and they were heated. But that
Well, I'm
was
also-
before COVID stuff.
I'm interested, I actually may be calling them to just question this, but so all through COVID, Elgin and I have been eating out more than normal, partially because we're being lazy, but also because we feel like it's our giving back to society and trying to, just give money back. And we try and tip the people really well, etc. One place we've been going is Roosters for their curbside. And last week they stopped doing curbside and you have to come in and get it. And so for me, that presents a problem because if I'm just with me and Sterling, I'm not dragging Sterling during COVID, put a mask on, dragging him just to get food. Plus your food's never ready at Roosters when they say it is, so then you end up standing inside. And what was interesting is they were saying, well, like if you were there to dine in the restaurant, you had to wait in your car for your turn. They didn't want people waiting inside. But there were like 5 or 8 of us carry out people all waiting there for our food. And they were like, you guys can't congregate here. And we're like, where do you want us to congregate? Like you told us our food is ready. We got a text that our food is ready. You stopped doing curbside. So I almost asked them that night, like, what was your motivation to stop curbside? And so now I'm interested to see if they go back to curbside or not since the governor's orders, but I just couldn't understand it. I'm like, it was mind blowing to me.
Now which Roosters? The one
I go to the one in Springhurst.
Okay. Now I'm wondering if is there a drive like a regular? They don't really have where you can pull right up to their employees would have to cross traffic to get to wherever you are parking, and I can only imagine
just their little parking lot. I mean, they had reserved spots for you, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Hi,
and the other
ladies.
thing is,
Hey, Pam.
hello.
Is that
I'm
Pam?
gonna, can I interject? Hi, yeah. How many people are
Yes.
on here?
It's us, just the 4 of us.
Hi again.
Yep.
I just wanted to say one thing about Roosters. What it could be, they might be understaffed.
I'm just
Gotcha.
wondering if with the new directive that came out yesterday, if they've had to change.
I know. I wonder if they'll change
No,
it. But
because
like
we
for
haven't
instance,
had.
Pam,
So everybody's
is-
talking about everything, and I don't know if you're aware too. Can you all hear me? I'm at
Yes.
Sauce Rita's in the side here. I don't even know if I have Wi-Fi. Am I going in and out?
Just a little bit.
Oh no. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. So with everything that's coming out, and I was listening earlier, I was in the back with our manager listening to the igloos and the bubbles and things. And, I was very upset this morning. I've kind of like breathed through it because in my opinion, even though the restaurants have been creative and they've spent so much money, Captain's Court, the Masterson's group that owns orders. The only reason that we are doing it is so we can at least stay open and try to get some of our business and keep our business in people's minds. But, and honestly, I'm really finding I have a hard time believing that restaurants are the virus generators. I believe that bars may be, but from my end at Salsaritas, I should, if restaurants cause or breed COVID, I should have had it 20 times over by now. That's just my opinion. Because we haven't shut down. We've been here through it all. And but we all honestly feel I was with Tony and Dwight this morning, and this has enabled us to get all of our systems really perfected with curbside and everything. All I'm doing now is taking what we've learned and then trying to be better. But we're just trying to do a lot of this to stay afloat.
Right.
This is just like it's just a Band-Aid. So, and I know I have this time it's just really different because he's also mandated that the healthcare systems cannot have outside food delivered in. I don't know if anybody was aware of that. So this is worse than the first time around.
Do you
Man,
think?
I didn't hear that part. Is that, I need to find that. That's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the hospitals.
Right before you got on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's
So,
interesting.
So just so I can clarify, are you talking about like when pharmacy reps and stuff want to have food brought in to medical staff, and is that what you're talking about?
So so this morning, a big chunk of our business is catering and delivery and, delivering down to Norton's. We feed the residents at U of L, pediatric residents, once a month. And we don't make a lot of money on it because we play a big role. Well, I'm involved in a lot of that, so I'll do it at a nonprofit rate. So we don't really make a lot of money on it, but it has given us the ability to keep our employees staffed and us out there. So they called this morning and canceled all of our orders for tomorrow. So when I went to Middletown this morning, I was talking about it to our manager. And while she was there, one of our customers, he is in the Baptist system, and he immediately pulled me over and he said, yeah, by the way, we were told that, and I'm assuming it came from the governor's office, that the healthcare system cannot have outside food deliveries to Baptist or Norton's. They're shutting down. So I guess what I have a problem with it of this time is that he's shutting us down, but yet the mall, I have a friend who I was vending with this morning. She said there were 75 people in TJ Maxx this morning.
That's been my argument that's been my argument all along, that your industry has been singled out. And then also when this first go around went and they established, the essential businesses, and like Walmart and Kroger, and Target, I guess, got to stay open because they had a food division. But any of the, like Kohl's and everybody else that were general merchandise, they were shut down. And it's like, well, that's not fair because
right. So I heard, so this is what I also heard was, and this is from the State Department, that they will not be shutting any retail down again. Right. And that was, so my problem was, well, we're retail, but, I hope that I just think there's a lot of issues that well, first of all, we can't control it, right? But for instance, the school systems are having trouble here. They, I heard this morning Oldham County High School has a pretty significant number of kids with it. But then I also heard a parent saying that, well, think about what they did. They rented out a gym and they had a Halloween party. So, I mean, are you going to, I'm not here to blame anybody, but why does the restaurants have to hurt by decisions of people that aren't doing the right thing?
You're
So
right.
I have a couple thoughts, only because I'm in what you would call the healthcare industry. And so, I come from just a little different perspective, but obviously, like, it is heartbreaking to anybody whose business is affected and shut down, like 100%. And I know that, especially with restaurants, like, and like we were saying, it's getting colder out. So now outdoor seating is even going to be more limited options and everything.
Right.
So I totally 1,000% am with you. My heart is with everyone there. But from what we talk about in our healthcare side of things, the difference in restaurants from anywhere else is that you cannot physically eat and drink with a mask on. And so you can go shopping and wear a mask, and you can go everywhere and wear a mask. And they've now, since the beginning, changed their thoughts about things living on surfaces. So I think that's part of why the retail side, they're saying, they're not as concerned about people touching things because they think it's not spread as much through touching. So I think so for instance, Pam, like for me personally, being in the healthcare industry and I'm high risk, I have not physically eaten inside of a restaurant since prior to March. But
you're right. You're absolutely
I personally have eaten outside or done takeout or carry out or curbside 10 times more than I did pre-COVID, truly.
absolutely.
And part of that is my laziness, and part of it is my husband and I are like, well, at least we can get back to, society some way and put some money back in the economy. Anytime we eat at a restaurant outside, we tip really well because we know everybody's suffering. But I think that's honestly just the biggest thing, is that anywhere else you can wear a mask and in restaurants you can't. But
well, I will agree. But the only thing that, I'm a little bit of a different model than a restaurant, because I'm with you on that. I strictly, I'm in here because I work here, but I think Lauren, my daughter, for instance, my daughter has a lot of healthcare issues. And so, I have a lot of things going on with my parents now. I don't let them go to the grocery stores. I feel like the grocery stores, churches, but I agree with you on eating in restaurants without, close proximity. But
now, I'm really interested about the Baptist and Norton thing, because I was looking at the governor's website, and I'm wondering if that came because Baptist and Norton are mostly a Louisville thing, mostly.
I know. Did you receive anything? Did you get
We didn't. That's why, because technically we're considered healthcare.
I know you are.
So I haven't heard. That's why I got alarmed, because we bring in food all the time too. And I'm like, oh no. So
I think someone so what he was saying, it was because they are so busy right now. And that's another thing he said. I was like, okay, wait a minute. You're so busy. He goes, yes. He goes, we were backlogged from elective procedures. So, because I was asking him, I said, you're busy. Does that mean you're all having increased cases of COVID?
Right.
And he said, no. He said, I think we're just taking these 3 weeks to get life back in order. And there's so many people going in and out of the buildings. And he said that it's not necessarily protecting anybody. It's more to keep order control, which, but, we didn't even go into when we were doing deliveries, they were coming out to get it. We weren't, that's what I told him. I said, we did not go in. We came out, they brought the carts out, and this whole thing is very.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the reason would be from that. That's weird.
I don't know. I was doing the same thing because I was quite shocked, and the doctors were not happy because then they can't feed
Unless,
their.
you know, one thing that maybe could be driving that is, so like when we order, when we serve food, like for instance, today is our employee appreciation. So either the food has to all be individually prepared so staff can just grab the thing they want, or
Right, and
somebody has to be
we
serving.
perfected that. Yeah.
So I wonder if it's more they're concerned about people sharing the spoon to serve themselves. Like, I wonder if they weren't following the
Oh
rules.
no, we're doing box. So since this, we're doing bagged and box lunches only to groups that are requiring it. But as far as no, the taco bars are pretty much still going to like homes, like bigger groups of people. Believe it or not, we still have some weddings because you can't mandate private outings. But it again, everybody, all these restaurants that are having, for example, Selena's just down the street. I'm pretty good friends with them, and honestly, those tents are up, and they spend a lot of money. They're not near getting what they normally do because people are just like you. They're not going out and eating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that from the internet, it looks like people might be, but honestly, they're not.
I was going to say, I'm like Allison. I've not stepped inside a restaurant. Now I have done curbside and pickup. Salsaritas is probably one of my first go.
No, we love you.
Yes, I love you too. But I haven't been in a mall. I do click list with Kroger's.
Yeah.
I've done click list with Target. I mean, I've had Amazon is becoming my new best friend.
I know.
I'm getting so used to just hitting a button on my phone, but we have not been congregating near people unless it's just absolutely like to a doctor's office or something like that. And even then, I think they've handled that. But I'm thinking maybe those 2 hospitals are kind of using this as he said, to get caught up.
I do too.
Some of these decisions are coming from higher up inside the hospitals. It's not really a Kentucky governor thing, but more of an administrative decision on their parts to use this time wisely to maybe get caught up before the new year. That's what I'm thinking.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Well, and so Pam, your drive-through is, I'm sure, just always packed. I go there frequently as well. And like, that's one reason I go there is because, again, I have my son with me. I don't want to go inside a restaurant, and I'd love that you all have that drive-through. So I feel like that's I tell this to Laura all the time. So you have to make a pact on this phone call. You have to tell me if there's any problems, because we have been working really hard, and we have a lot of new staff. We have a manager in there, and I feel like things are better, but I've never had one issue. I frequent you all at least once a week since April, and I have had no issues whatsoever.
Same.
Sorry, I'm getting in my car.
I'm going to tell you, it's not just because I like to support Pam, but they have a fabulous reward system. I mean, very generous. I get coupons all the time. I just got something this week about tacos, 2 tacos for $6 or something. I don't know, but
we just upped it again. So if anybody orders burritos, is going to get double point. I mean, we've been working so hard we just wanted to keep our employees.
Yeah.
Because
so Pam, how is it then for you? Like, I know probably your profits are not what you were anticipating for this year or anything, but I mean, obviously you're still in business. I mean, your creative solutions are working.
No, well, I know I was on the phone with my boss this morning, and Laura knows who that is. we're real this time around. We're really worried because this is our time where we make money, and it carries us into January and February. When January and February typically are really, I always get excited in January, February because I know I have the ability to, be up maybe 10% just by getting 1 or 2 orders. That's the things that maybe that's so upsetting this time around, is because we were hit, all the restaurants were hit so bad during our peak season with Derby. And then now, as we go into Thanksgiving and Christmas, here we go again. I mean, are we going to have Christmas? I mean, we could say December 13th, but is that realistic?
Right.
I don't know. I don't. What's your all's thought? I don't know.
That's a good
Well-
question, because the schools probably won't go back until January, which of course, then everybody's going to been together. And if, I think it's going to be the same thing, that people were around other people, maybe they were exposed, but I think this is going to go on, for at least another 2 months. And in my industry, January and February are usually slower too, just because of the weather. And people, they say January is cold, but February is usually when we have the nasty ice storms and things. So yeah, I mean, I'm like you, it's, our industry has been, hit too, just because people don't want to go out. And so we're going into those lean months without the, the reserves that we had hoped to have, the majority of us. But I'm just hoping for your industry that people, become more comfortable and more accustomed just to ordering out and having DoorDash or somebody bring it to them if they're not going to drive.
Well, you
that's what
kind of
I'm
said
hoping.
it too. My mother will not let a third party near her house. I accidentally did my brother came in town, and what's really awful is a lot of friends passing away during this, and not COVID related, because it's either like stress or something. And so my brother, he came in town a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't have time to he wanted salsaritas, so I called. My mom didn't know what we were texting about, and I said I had it delivered to your door. And she texted me and she said, I don't want it delivered, I'll go get it. And I said, Mom, all you have to do is open the front door. And I said, y'all don't need to know my personal problems, but she was really angry. She did not want a DoorDash driver to touch her food. So that was interesting to me.
I'm with her. So
we got seals.
I too don't use DoorDash.
We do have seals now, but I just think that I was on a Zoom with the hospitality industry. Is anybody else with the Kentucky Restaurant Association on here at all?
No.
So I was on the Zoom with them, and we were kind of laughing because we need to script the governor better, because people shouldn't be told that restaurants cause COVID, the virus.
Right.
And because if you're going to say that, what else? I mean, there's just so many other things that can cause it. Why are you just putting it out on us? But I think he was just mistaken a little bit, because I don't think he meant what he was saying. But still, they're not, I mean, like your healthcare system. I mean, it's a science, and we don't know much about it. And we'll be very thankful when that vaccine gets in.
So Pam, back to your question about, will we have Christmas? Will things open back up? My hope, based on the timing of what this is, so basically he's shutting things back down for 3 weeks, right? So my thought is, his thought behind that is, well, and let me backtrack and say again, being in healthcare. So if we have a resident or an employee or whoever tests positive, the recommendation now, number one, is that you do not test them again for 90 days because people can be
Right.
testing positive over and over and over. So then how do you know if
Right.
they're clear? So our
Right.
guideline for like a resident is if assuming their symptoms are improving, we consider them clear of COVID after 21 days. So I'm wondering if in his thought, if people socially distance, wear their mask, do the things he's asking for these next 21 days, will that drastically lower our numbers to where he can open it back up? That's where my head is at, as far as hoping that's what I think his thought process is, because I think
you're
everybody
right.
does want to be able to see their families on Christmas. You know?
I know. I think you're right. But again, you're exactly right. And I think that the media, I mean, we all watch whatever we watch, but I was talking to one of our healthcare doctors the other day, and he said he really wishes that people would not encourage families to go get tested before they see their family members. He says that is a false privilege
zone.
that, I mean, yeah, thank you. And he said, and it's a privilege that some people, you know, they're on, like, Entertainment Tonight is saying, bring in a concierge doctor and pay $300 for a rapid test so these kids can see their grandparents. Well, that's a celebrity world. That's not a real world setting. And that's not accurate. So I
Right.
don't know.
You could test negative one day and positive the next. I have a coworker
Absolutely.
who's done that. We've
Yeah.
seen it time and time again. We have people testing negative, getting symptoms,
Yeah.
still testing negative, and then magically one day they test positive. So the tests are not
Yeah.
a great means. And
No,
I
not.
agree. If you're not feeling sick, don't get tested.
I know that's well, our neighbor's family haven't, I don't know how they got exposed, but my daughter teaches swim lessons, so she teaches the little one, and so they called her and they said, hey, we've been exposed, we're in quarantine. And she said, you know, thank you for saying it, but do you know, so the 4 of them were tested. The only one that tested positive was the 18-month-old baby. And they were in quarantine 21 plus days because the baby kept getting tested. And then finally our neighbor said, I'm not putting her through this again. You know,
Yeah.
we're all going back to work. Sorry. So I don't know. But she was never sick, never had symptoms or anything, which is crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I hope it works, don't you all?
I do, you know, as
Yes.
we say, it is what it is. So we just move forward.
Yeah.
We figure out how to deal.
Yeah.
So Laura, are you all hosting any more virtual? I'm hearing a lot of people are trying to do some virtual programming. And I don't know if this even works, but they're doing virtual programming for like trivia things and things like that, where they're getting restaurants and SOFA and other businesses to sponsor prizes and stuff, and then they're charging. Is that something that is even worth trying?
It's certainly worth looking into. I have not heard of that. So yeah, it's something definitely worth looking at. The one thing that I'm hearing from a lot of folks at the different chambers is that so much stuff that they're trying to do to try to stay visible is just filler. And
yeah, it is
already busy as it is. Just keep it to business, and you know, let everybody do their job, and you know, don't try to just come up with something just to be coming up with something.
Yeah, don't try too hard.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of that sounds like fun, but in reality, I'm here, you know, I'm so busy. I just don't have, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're doing, just to let you know, and I did send you a note, and I think I did. We're going to go ahead and keep all of our giving programs active. And we're doing a really fun promotion that we've never tried before with Make-A-Wish, a Roundup Change program.
Yes, I did
And
share that out today.
thank you. You know, I'm just hoping things like that will help. You know, I got 2 requests this morning, and Steve and I are trying to figure out how, when we get requests for example, we just got a request for St. Joseph's Home. The kids want salsaritas. And Steve sends me the email and he goes, we can't do this on our own because we already have these other commitments, but figure out a way that if we give it a cost, if we can have a sponsor to somebody else, I'll deliver it at no cost, but we can't afford, and we don't have anything. So I'm just trying to figure out programs to develop maybe sponsors of a gifting.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any ideas, I am all ears on that.
Okay.
Other than a couple car dealerships, I don't know anybody that's making any money right now.
Well, that's why I said, you know, we're just doing trying to do simple things, but still stay in front of our chamber members and support our chamber members. Like we're doing a food drive right now. We have, you know, several of our nonprofits have food pantries, and they're getting food right now because of the Thanksgiving holiday, but they're running short on cleaning supplies and paper towels and soap and body wash and hair shampoo. And, you know, they said they need those things too. Right now, the canned goods are coming in. But they need a lot, you know, razors and just, you know, just those little things that we take for granted that they're definitely in need of. So
is anyone aware of a coat drive this year? Because somebody wasn't having one because they said they weren't doing it because of COVID. I think it was, I don't remember who it was.
you might Google
Yeah, I
it.
saw that. Yeah.
But
I
usually
know
there's
that,
like 2 or 3 people have them.
Yeah.
well, I do know that Sacred Heart is still having their Appalachian project. I can, I can email. But yeah, I know
the high school or the campus.
I believe it's the campus, but I know it's being housed at the high school.
Okay. My daughter graduated from there, so I can get on that real easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My Sam's is still working there, so she was sending me notes this morning because I asked the same thing. I have had a bunch of coats, and then because we usually donate, the University of Kentucky's local alumni association has one, and then isn't there another, the church is a Middletown Christian, Laura, that might have one.
I haven't heard anything from them. I know they've been kind of shut down. So I think it's like Nancy said, because of COVID, I think there might be some groups that are not having their annual coat drive. But you could probably Google it, and I'm sure there's
I'm sure some of the homeless shelters are doing it, you know.
Socks.
I forget who the one is that does the under the bridge people. Forget who that is. The board of realtors does a lot of those, but I hadn't seen anything new. So
hold on a second. You all know who JP Davis is with the Arts Council? He sent me a note this morning. There is a Weston group that is collecting. In fact, if I knew how to get to the message thing. Oh, here it is. He sends me this. Where is it? East Washington Street. It's, volunteers needed, gift wrapping, gifts. Hold on, shoot. I can find the name of the group. Operation Happy Holidays. Okay.
I think I've heard of them because I was on the week of service committee with the realtors for a couple of years, and there's always somebody wanting something, you know, this time of year. We're usually collecting for some group, and I'll look and see who they're. I haven't gotten any call from them because we're shut down too. They closed our office. We do everything remotely.
So it's Grace Community Church in Portland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that we used them once before. I mean, that was one of our donation, our service projects one year. So okay. Thank you.
sure.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's almost 4. Feel like, this was a good chat. I know it wasn't really the intention of the meeting today, but I think hopefully we all got some, things out there and some good just networking opportunities. So
I think that's how all the affinity groups are kind of working. It's like they have an agenda and then they kind of go,
it's partially a support group too. I mean, in our business, I've been training some new team members this week, and we're in senior living. So I have residents who have not seen their families in person since March. And so it is, and their family, I mean, it is a hard place to be, and we get that, but it's all to protect the residents. But so consequently, we have family members yelling at us, upset about things. And I was telling them today, I'm like, just give everybody grace. Everybody is sick of COVID. Everybody's exhausted of COVID. Whether you see it or not, we've all been affected one way or another. Some people have 5 kids at home with NTI, so we're all affected. And I'm like, it's just a time to be graceful with people, be forgiving of people. If somebody flies off the handles, just chalk it up to COVID because,
I know
it's COVID fatigue,
and breathe. Everybody
Yeah.
just
what-
breathe. Maybe I need to have a Zoom, like a yoga Zen kind of thing.
Chair yoga.
Do
Like
it.
something where
Yes.
everybody can just zoom in and do their.
Sign me up.
Okay.
Hey,
And
you know what? If you want to do some hip hop, at 5 o'clock today, there's a hip hop class that's public on Zoom. Baptist Milestone's putting it on, and during in the first COVID, that's what I would do because she's a friend of mine, and it's just hilarious. You're sitting there going, I'm not dancing, by the way, but when she was doing her fitness classes, I was doing it. But Gilda's Club also has them too. So you're right. Yoga and Zoom, what all of that is. It's amazing stress relievers. Oh,
Alice and I have 2 questions for you. One of them, or I guess either of you, we were originally talking about QR codes, kind of piggyback from the last meeting. If you think of an application that you think QR code would work in my real estate industry, let me know. Because I
Okay.
have, we talked about it before. It's like I could kind of see where it comes in, but is it really worth the effort to go to it? So
it is, by the way. We started using it after you spoke about it.
Mhm.
And if you do you send out postcards or do you have anything on the internet?
I do some email marketing, but I don't, and Facebook, but I don't do much more than that.
So you already have a link, but
Yeah.
we're seeing, so we instituted the QR code for our curbside,
Right.
and everything that I send out, I'll do business cards now and put our QR code to the app. It is definitely working
Okay.
because you don't have to Google it. You just take a picture of that little card. It goes to the iPhones and takes you straight to the download the order form.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, and
you might have
Nancy,
a
you do
list
those
of
like specials, like your $500 off and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
That's a good to Pam's point. If I had 2 things in my mailbox from a realtor, and one was go to my website and log in here and and the other was click this QR code, I'd probably click the QR code just out of
That's
simple.
good. Okay. Practical, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've discovered I'm lazy.
Well,
Lazy when I can be.
well,
No, you're shortcuts. It's shortcuts.
we were in the process of changing our web page, and we were going to go to a different one's been giving us trouble, and we were going to do another one, and then my broker, she's got busy and said the other one was just taking too much of her time, so we've stuck with the original one. And that's one of those things that I was going to attach stuff and go to it, but we were both talking that if we're Googling somebody and they don't have a website, it's like she and I are like, "Nah, I just go on to the next person." So it really does make an impact on what takes you to your website. And once it gets there, what they find. So yeah, using a QR code just to kind of help direct more people to that, then that makes sense. So, I mean, I understand on listings if you're driving by, but there's so many other apps too that you could do, but a QR code, putting that on a, a yard sign or whatever, helps. And we've done that before.
Well, again, I'm not an app person. I don't like to add apps and
Right.
sign up for stuff. I feel like a QR code's a simple way to do certain things like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I have a quick question. How is your industry right now?
Mine in real estate.
Uh-huh.
It's good. It's been stable. It's still not enough houses for sale, and still
Right.
a lot of buyers. So the inventory has been low, and it was low before COVID. So this is really, kind of hurt us this year. So we're still
Okay.
busy, but not as busy as we should have been with the interest rates and the economy as great as it was. It just really, a lot of people just kind of dropped out of the market for a while. But I mean, I've got buyers a list long, and you're just
Yeah.
waiting for the right house to come along. And when you have half of what you should have, it's just taking longer.
Right.
And part of the problem is that the people that would normally have sold, they either can't find another house to move to because there's not enough houses and they don't want to be homeless if there are sales right away, but then they can't find something, or they can't afford to buy one home first and then put theirs on the market because there's a disparity in, a couple of months if you're, not financially able to handle 2 mortgage payments for a while. And then the third part of that aspect is buyers don't mind going into other people's houses to tour. Okay.
Right.
But the sellers don't want people coming in. So
Right.
that's been kind of a problem. And yeah, and we're 4:00. So yeah, we're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. Could have been better, but yeah, we're all in all, I've done better this year than I did last year. So that's saying something.
Well,
That's
that's
good.
great.
And Allison, I have another question for you, but that's not related to this group.
Allison, when is your next meeting?
Well, I was thinking of doing one in December, but I'm honestly tempted to say, should we push it out till January, especially because of the holidays, this shutdown that may continue. So my thought is to push it into January, if you guys are okay with that, just because December's such a busy month. So
I
I
think
would
that's gonna be
lean
smart.
towards like January 21st. Let me double check. Yeah, I would lean towards January 21st, if that
Okay.
works for everyone at 3:00.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
And I hope I don't have a house for you to sell then. I'm kidding.
Hey, historically, the Q4 is my biggest sales month of the year. So don't let anybody ever tell you that just because it's not spring or summer, that it's not a good time to buy or sell. Those are usually great times. And here's why: is because everybody's looking in spring and the summer.
Mm.
And in the months closer to the holidays, not that it's going to be that big of an impact this year, there's not as many houses generally on the market. So if you're selling, they usually sell faster because there's not as much inventory, but there hasn't been any inventory anyway. So this year, I don't think it's going to make a difference. But yeah, unless there's ice, or 6 foot of snow, we still sell houses.
Yeah.
Do you sell a lot in Q1? I know this has nothing to do with our chat. I'm sorry.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But usually that
Okay.
March, it depends. A lot of people say, okay, come January after the holidays, I'll start thinking about it again. So February, March. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I've enjoyed just venting today because I really needed this.
Well, it's like
Good.
Allison said, we're just support group.
Yeah. And Pam, you've done a great job at Salsaritas, and I appreciate your insights on this call, and I hope you hang in there. And
Oh, we're fine. Yeah.
I'm glad you have a drive-through.
Me too.
Well, we're working on I mean, I don't know if I told you in the last one, we were supposed to have another one open by now over in Southern Indiana. And because of COVID, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I know that once this passes, we'll all hopefully pick up where we left off and move through it, right? Like you said, fall down 7, get up 8.
That's right. That's right. Well,
Right.
I just know
Well,
I appreciate you.
We do too. I know I'm not around a whole lot, but you all know if you all need anything, just text me. Laura, you're free to give them my cell.
I will. I will tell you that
Okay.
my biggest hit with my entire family, including my grandkids, are the burrito bowls.
Really?
Be hungry.
Yes, that
That
is
sound
their
good.
ultimate favorite. So,
That's really interesting from the kids.
yeah.
Well, good, because they're healthy.
Yes, they
of
are.
them.
Yes, they're very healthy. So,
Well, thank you very much. And it is always a pleasure meeting people that I don't get to see a whole lot. So,
well,
and like I said, if you all need anything from me, I was in the healthcare business before I joined the team at South Street, so I'm always there too.
yeah.
So
Thank you, Allison.
thank
for
you,
all
guys.
and Nancy, thank you for all your support of the chamber.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I'm
gonna
sure I'll
close
talk to you all
this out.
again before then, but yeah.
I'm going to close this out, let you two talk, okay?
Oh, good. I just have a quick question, Allison.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have
Do you know Brittany Pop? She's the